Hello, hello everyone. My name is Abhilash Ganesh Pavnikar, and today's video topic is that exception handling in Java. Okay, so in this video we have to discuss about that exception handling in Java. Then what is an exception in Java? Then what is the exception handling in Java? Then hierarchy of that exception handling. Then what is the types of exceptions? Okay, and advantages of that exception. So we will discuss each one of them one by one. Okay, so let us start our video, that is exception handling in Java. Okay, so the exception handling in Java is the one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime errors, so that the normal flow of that application that can be maintained. So we will see the exactly the exception. Okay, so what is the exception in Java? There have the dictionary meaning is that exception is an abnormal condition. Okay, so in Java an exception is an event that disrupts the normal flow of that program. It is an object which is thrown at a runtime. So then we will discuss on the what is an exactly the exception handling. So exception handling is a mechanism to handle the runtime errors, such as a class not found exception, then IO exception, then like a SQL exception, remote exceptions, etc. So then we will discuss about the advantages of that exception handling. Okay, so the core advantage of that exception handling is that to maintain the normal flow of that applications. An exception normally disrupts the normal flow of the applications, and that is why we need to handle the exceptions. Okay, so we will take and have an example like a statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, and then statement 4, statement 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 10, and that is the exception occurs. Okay, suppose there are 10 statements in a Java program, and an exception occurs at a statement like a 5, so the rest of the code will not be executed. Okay, so that is like a statement 6 to 10 will not be executed. However, then when we perform the exception handling, the rest of the statement will be executed. Okay, so that is why we use the exception handling in Java. So we have to basically used in the exception handling there are like a try, catch, or a finally block. There are some keywords like a throws exception, then throws keyword. Okay, so we will discuss about that next. So in the next topic is that hierarchy of that Java exception classes. Okay, so the java.lang.throwable class is the root of a class that the Java exception, the hierarchy inherited by the two subclasses, one is the exception and another one is that error. Okay, so the hierarchy of a Java exception is that the main class is that the throwable, and the throwable is that parent class. Then there have the subparts of that throwable class, that is the exception, and another one is that error. Okay, so in that exception class there have the some another sub exceptions IO exception, SQL exception, another one is that class not found exception, and fourth one is that like a runtime exception. Okay, in that runtime exception there have the also the various types of exceptions, it may be arithmetic exceptions, then number null pointer exception, then a number format exception, and another one is that index out of bound exception. Okay, so there have the the index out of bound exception is that there have the another two parts of that exception. That one is that like array index out of bound exception, and another one is that string out of bound index exception. Okay, so in that another subclass is we have to see the above like a error. So in that error there have the sub classes in that error, like stack overflow error, then virtual machine error, then out of like out of memory error. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of that exception. Okay, so we will see the next part of our video is that like types of exception. Okay, so there are mainly two types of exception, like a checked exception or a unchecked exception. Okay, so an error is considered as that unchecked exception. So however, according to like Oracle, there are three types of that exception, namely like a checked exception, unchecked exception, and error. Okay, so we will see the exactly difference between that checked and unchecked exception. Okay, so the first one is that like a checked exception. So the classes that directly inherits the throwable class that accept runtime exception and error are known as that checked exception. Okay, for example, like IO exception or a checked exception, for like SQL exception, etc. That the checked exceptions are checked at a compile time. Okay, and we will see the another type of that unchecked exception is like that the classes that inherits the runtime exceptions are known as a unchecked exception. For example, like arithmetic exception or a null pointer exception. So the array out of bound in array out of bounds exception, etc. Like unchecked exceptions are not checked at a compile time, but they are checked at a runtime. Okay, so third one is that like a error. So in that error is that like irrecoverable. Okay, for example, some example like errors are out of memory error, then virtual machine error. Okay, so we will see the exactly the Java exception keywords that we have to use in that handling the exception, like exception handling. That there have the 5 keywords that are used to handle the exception. Like first one is that try, then catch, then finally throw and throws keyword. Okay, so the basically the try keyword is used to specify a block where the where we like where we should place an exception code. It means like we cannot use the try block alone. Okay, so the try block must be followed by either catch, or it may be like a final block. Okay, so we will see the another keyword is that catch keyword. Okay, so in that catch block is used to handle the exception. It must be preceded by the try block, and which means we cannot use the catch block alone. So it can be followed by finally block later. Okay, so we will see the another keyword is like a finally keyword. So the finally block is used to execute the necessary code of that program. It is executed whether an exception is handled or not. Okay, so the next keyword is that like a throw. So the throw keyword is used to like a throw an exception. Okay, and another example is like the another keyword is like a throws keyword. So the throws keyword is used to declare the exception. It specifies the it specifies that there may occur and they may occur an exception in that method. So it does not throw an exception. It is always used with a method signature. Okay, that's all about the video. Thank you.